You know, today I'm very happy to interview a gentleman from New York City. He's a filmmaker, director, producer. Uh, he worked for a couple of friends of mine in New York at the beginning of his career, which I love, Lee Grant. Lee Grant is one of the greatest actresses ever for me, like Kim Stanley, Lee Grant, and Shelley Winters. These were great actresses. He worked with Lee, you worked with Joe Fury and Lee. Joe's the husband of Lee Grant.
Well, first off, Skip, let me say I'm very happy that you made a slot for me today on your show.
Oh, thank you.
It is a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to interview you.
Well,
because you began your career in New York working for Lee and Joe Fury.
Absolutely. I was an apprentice editor for Lee Grant back in the early 90s. She was working, in fact, she started the entire HBO Undercover series.
She did, you're right.
She did. She gave birth to what today is, the standard bearer for documentaries on broadcast television. Right. And she was doing a lot of shows about women's issues, and I was an apprentice editor for her on all the documentaries. I think there were 3 or 4 that she did for HBO. And of course, she was married to Joseph Fury, whom we both know.
And a dancer.
A dancer, and
a ballet dancer on top of it.
Right, and he and his wife Lee, they had all the success in the world, but talking about being modest and putting it aside and being normal people. They were gems. They were really fantastic.
I agree.
Yeah. And it was really a great learning experience for me.
What did you learn from her? Tell me.
What I learned from Lee.
She's a great director herself.
She is a great director.
Yeah.
I think she did that film, That Becomes Her, or I forgot what film she did, but what I learned from cutting for Lee Grant was to not stay put in the documentary. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Always keep the attention of the audience in mind. And that's what I've learned. And, to cut out anything that would slow down the telling of the story or the overall theme of the project or the impact that project was supposed to have.
Right.
And it was a great experience. We cut on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And
she loves women, stories about women. Problems, women's problems.
And why not?
Yeah.
There's a gap there.
Ida Lupino reminds me of Lee Grant. When I think of Ida Lupino,
Ida
think
Lupino?
of Lee. Yeah, Ida Lupino is a great actress and a director. Same as
really?
Lee. They're both. There's so much togetherness, those two.
Really?
And I love Ida Lupino. So anyway, let's get back.
Sure.
So you worked for Lee and you learned a lot, and then you got on your own. What happened to that?
Well, after I worked for Lee, I worked as a full-fledged editor in Manhattan. I did commercials. I did corporate videos.
It was easy now because you worked for the 2 great people.
Well, I had Lee Grant at the top of the resume at that time, and it was
Uh-huh.
kind of easy. And I did some other independent features. I did that for quite a while. And then what happened?
Commercials too.
And commercials, of course. But what happened was, after I did all that work, when you're networking, especially in Manhattan,
Right.
I was able to raise financing for my first film.
And which was?
Vic.
Vic. What was that about?
If you go to YouTube, you'll see clips of it.
Okay.
Vic was a mockumentary. It wasn't a documentary. It was a staged documentary
Right.
about a washed-up lounge lizard stuck in yesteryear.
I remember that. I think so.
It had some minor distribution in New York City. You could have gotten it at a couple of video stores, actually. Nothing major. I mean, if you were in a video store and you go, what's this?
Who's the guy who did that?
The actor was Phil Stein.
Phil Stein.
Who went on to be a regular on the Cirque du Soleil as the Happy Clown. Which is an art in itself, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but it was Vic, and it was it had some notoriety. But you know what? When everything switched off of VHS into DVD and all of that,
yeah.
and computers, it kind of just melted away.
Yeah.
But the executive producer of that film was so happy with it that he was able to arrange the financing for me for my other film, which was called The Last Resort.
And that reminds me of a show I did. I used to work, ladies and gentlemen, I used to work up in the Catskills. You know the Catskills. That's what he's talking about.
Right.
The Italian Alps there and Jewish Alps.
And
I did all that.
And The Last Resort is an actual documentary. This isn't a mockumentary. It's an actual documentary about the last remaining Italian resort in the Catskills.
Italian, and I worked that place.
There used to be hundreds of Italian resorts, as well as Greek resorts.
But the one you're talking about, I worked it.
Villa Vasilla.
That's it.
This is a documentary about Villa Vasilla, and the humor is born out of the comedic arguing between
Mama,
the matriarch who made a ton of money in the 70s and the
grandmother.
80s, right, and the son-in-law who wants to say, look, we're going broke here. I want to put up a rock climbing wall. I want to get some tennis pros up here. We got to modernize because we're hanging on by a thread.
Right.
And the matriarch, Natalina Vasilla, she holds her ground. She holds her ground, and the movie's really good because we get them arguing. But it's not a type of arguing that makes it negative. It's funny type of arguing. And that all those scenes are intercut with acts that still actually perform in their lounge.
Right.
Which is a whole other concept within itself.
And the show's on weekends. The show's always on the weekends, right?
Thursday through Sunday, except during the summertime when you get the whole family fixed price. You get, not only do you get the beautiful ossobuco, but you're also getting a third-rate comedian.
The risobuco, my favorite dish.
Right.
One of them, anyway.
You get the fried calamari and the magician. So,
was that easy to shoot, this Last Resort? Because we're up in the Catskills set, actually.
It's in Tannersville, which is right by Hunter Mountain.
Hunter Mountain, yeah.
Hunter Mountain. And, it was such a great experience to shoot that film. Where that film is now, I mean...
You're Italian, too. Can you speak Italian?
Forget about it.
Okay.
Yes, I am Italian.
You parlo italiano?
Parlo italiano.
Sì, bene. So it's fun for you to be on that show there.
Yeah, because I spoke to the guests there in Italian. And that's the problem with the guests in that place. Each year it's like 10 people less.
Yeah, they're dying away.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So...
What's a banza? Tell me about a banza. A banza means everything. But...
Well, first let me cap off The Last Resort.
Okay.
We're currently looking for distribution on that.
Oh, are you really?
Right. It's having a little difficulty, but the second film I made about 2 years ago is a film called Abbondanza.
Abbondanza, yeah.
Abbondanza is another, again, a real documentary about Little Italy in the Bronx.
Little Italy in the Bronx.
The original Little Italy.
Right.
Now, there are two Little Italies in New York. You got the one in Manhattan, which has become, in the village, which is totally commercialized and overpriced, and you can't park.
Yeah.
The real Little Italy in New York is in the Belmont section of the Bronx. Arthur Avenue. And Abbondanza is a documentary about that Little Italy. And that film is doing well because we do have a online distribution for that film. And it's going to be in the fall, late fall.
Right.
It's going to be on Netflix. It's going to be on Hulu.
All these places. Okay.
And a host of other movie on demand websites.
Right.
So, and I think the formula is, if you get a certain amount of hits in that arena, it automatically gets bumped up to like a Time Warner or Verizon movie on demand. But I think it's got a shot because it's really offbeat and
it's got a shot with me because I love to see that Italian Little Italy's.
Yeah, I think it really captures. It's told from the perspective of a philosopher who's also a baker, the neighborhood priest, and a street smart wise guy.
Hey,
and
forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah. And you have all these guys commenting on various situations, and that's intercut with actual visits with the stores.
Yeah.
We go to the baker. We go to the shoe sales.
How about the girls in it?
The girls?
Hot girls, yeah.
We do have a couple of hot girls. They're always needed. But it's really a cultural extravaganza of Arthur Avenue. It's the Italians emphasizing what they brought to America, as all ethnic groups brought to America.
Yes, tell me something, because the Italians are very upset about think of themselves as a mafiosa. They're not just a mafiosa.
Yeah, well, actually, there's a part in the movie that the philosopher Baker, you know,
they get upset about that.
Yes, and it is, and I'm very happy you brought it up because it is a point made in the documentary.
Good.
And he says, you know, he talks about the Godfather and the unfair bias, and he talks about, you know, what the real deal is.
Yes, yes.
And he explains it very eloquently, and people seem to go, all right, now I got it. and it kind of puts that stereotype aside, and that was really rewarding in the film.
This year, you've been working on a project right now. It's dear to your heart.
Absolutely. This is something so exciting. I'll say it in 3 words. Richard Pryor Jr.
Okay.
Richard Pryor Jr.
It's Richard Pryor's son.
The actual son of Richard Pryor.
Okay.
Right. And
how many children did he have? Just only one?
He had 5.
He had 5.
But with Richard Pryor, it was cast among many different women.
Okay.
You know, he liked the ladies.
Yes.
And he divorced and remarried, and divorced and the girlfriend and remarried, and
so you found the son to
found
do
the
movie?
son at the Friars Club in New York City one night, and I've been friends with him for about 4 years now.
How did you find him at the Friars Club? He was performing there?
He was performing in the Liza Minnelli room, and he did like a cabaret stand-up.
Yeah,
he's a very talented guy. He really is.
Is he?
He's very talented. He's about 40 years old, and he's you know, and he's trying to achieve fame in his own right, which brings me to the projects. I have 2 projects with him. One is a TV show.
Right.
The proposal, the pilot's been shot, and the other is a feature screenplay. So there are 2 avenues that we can get, as I say, for me to get Richard out there.
Right.
And I think we have a clip from.
That's right. We do have
from
a clip.
The TV.
And
TV.
You brought me a clip?
Yes. Can I do the
Great.
setup?
Go ahead.
I always wanted to do a setup.
Do you always want to do a setup?
Yeah, I want to do a setup. You know. This is the whole gist of getting Richard Pryor Jr. out there. First off, it's a mockumentary, stage documentary, and it's all about Richard trying to achieve fame in his own right.
Okay.
And every time he tries to do it, it backfires, or it doesn't play out right. Now, this is the role he plays in real life. Richard is a talented singer, comedian, so I want to make that distinction.
Right.
So there's a sizzle reel of the pilot episode for the TV prong of us trying to get him out there, and whenever you.
Well, let's hear it. Okay, let's roll it.
My name is Richard Pryor Jr., and after all these years on the stage and silver screen, I finally have my own reality show. I'm ready for the challenge, so let's roll.
What's happening, people? My name is Hector Delgado, and I'm Richard Pryor Jr.'s intern assistant. He threw in the intern at the last moment, so he don't have to pay me. That was rude, bro.
You know what, Hector? Why don't you go on vacation this week?
Maybe if you paid me, I would go on vacation, and I'll have my reality show.
I'll
be the man.
That's
right?
why you left from Cuba or Havana, wherever the hell you came
Cuban,
from.
brother. I'm from the Bronx.
Well, you
and I
came
didn't come over on a boat.
A taco boat.
I'm Kendall Moore. My firm, Moore Management, represents all of Richard's on-screen interests. He hired me after I got him the role of an apple in a juice box commercial.
And I'm Barbara Thompson, Richard Pryor Jr.'s brand new publicist. And by the way, I've been a PR person for a single client my entire life. And you might know him. His name is Jesus Christ.
Everybody, you know Uncle Bob. He was my dad's hotshot agent back in the day.
I used to handle all the sick cop chicks, too. I was the go-to guy for ass.
Hey, just for the record, I'm still a hotshot agent. You want Betty White? I can have her here on the next bus.
Let me get this straight. All you guys can get from me is this Jamie Lynn Spears movie? Come on, tell me I'm wrong.
You could do a product endorsement. NeverSayDiet.com. They're looking for someone to lose 30 pounds in 30 days.
I'm not doing a diet deal. Case closed.
Did I mention they're offering 50 grand?
everyone, Richard Pryor Jr. here for NeverSayDie.com, America's greatest weight loss plan. You can have it all. How? The Never Say Diet Meal Plan is based on the proven hypothalamic index, an amazing new science that puts your metabolism into high gear. It's absolutely unheard of. So come on, take the Richard Pryor Jr. 30-day, 30-pound challenge with the fabulous Never Say Diet Meal Plan. Hey, I'm definitely going to do it. So can you.
Damn, you got it smelling on the money in this kitchen. What you got burning in those pots, man?
Got some fried okra, some catfish, just like my grandma Marie used to make. Bless her soul.
That's all good. But you know what? When you gonna start Never Say Diet? Because you've been all over the media with this, man.
You know, I'll get to that peasant food soon enough.
When? You've been stuffing your face for the last 3 days. You know that.
Oh, you want to count now? Why don't you count and see how much cornbread you can get on that tray?
Give me some piece of chicken.
You know, you better put my chicken
I'm putting
down.
nothing down.
Whoa, what did we do? Switch to the Roseanne Barr diet? You got enough food here to feed everyone that's ever been on Hollywood Squares.
Damn it, Richard, I'm gonna hurt you.
Relax, Kendall. Richard will lose weight on the hypojurassic index.
What do dinosaurs have to do with any of this?
It's the hypothalamic index, you morons.
A representative at Never Say Diet sent this to me this morning. They've had a tail on you since day one, Richard. And despite my power praying, you're still gonna get sued for breach of contract.
So this campaign you just blew, Richie? Game over. Nobody will hire you to endorse a product again.
Sure they will. I'm a victim.
What the hell are you talking about, Richard? A victim of what?
Hello, everyone. Not too long ago, I made a commitment to lose weight on the Never Say Diet Meal Plan. Sadly, I regret to inform you that the Never Say Diet Meal Plan was a scam. Furthermore, don't believe the hype that my involvement with Never Say Diet was just for the money. I did it to make sure that mega diet corporations made food for all Americans and not just crackers. Success!
You did it, Richie, baby, you did it. You know I'm so damn proud of you.
You should be proud of me, Uncle Bob. I went viral!
First off, let me say, you know, that Never Say Diet,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about trying it because it's a real fat burner. I mean, I don't know.
You know, that reminded me of something about Michael Jackson in there at the beginning of the sleep. He couldn't sleep, disturbing of sleeping. You had something like that at the beginning of this.
I'm not catching that wavelength right now, but
okay.
What I can say is what we're seeing here, what we just saw, is the TV version of how, as I say, we want to get Richard Pryor Jr. out there. But what happened was there's a little difficulty right now because a lot of the talent agencies
Don't want him?
No, not that they don't want them. You know, with reality television today, they've tripled the density of their firewall.
Right.
Because everyone's got an uncle who's hilarious, and they come to LA and they want to get him in the show, which is understandable. These people have an agency to run. They have to be able to conduct business, and they have to keep everything. So what I've done, along with my executive producer in New York, Bruno DeFabio, is that, all right, let's shift gears a little bit.
Right.
Let's write a screenplay, and let's do an indie production of, or studio, of Richard in a movie.
Right.
And then perhaps that can lead to a spin-off on something with broadcast television.
Yeah.
And the script is quite different from this. It's again, a mockumentary. The core of it is Richard, who in the screenplay really doesn't have any talent. Regardless, he is going to ride his father's coattails into the ground. He doesn't care. He wants celebrity. He wants celebrity in his own right.
In his own right, yeah.
And the screenplay is called Richard Who. And it really, and what makes matters worse is that he's
Right.
got an inept staff around him.
Right.
But coincidentally, is what he could get at this point in his career. So it all lines up in that regard. And the screenplay is a story about Richard Pryor Jr. trying to achieve the same fame his father had. The problem is
Didn't work.
no. The problem is every thing he does to try to make himself a celebrity in
Fires
the
back.
script hilariously backfires. For example, you know how celebrity adoptions are the big thing these days. A star has to adopt a baby,
Right.
and
Adopt
you know,
a baby.
not for all. I mean, some
I'm
are
so
legitimate.
sick of those tired these movie stars adopting babies
They're adopting
and
babies.
parading on the carpet with babies in their arms and all that.
They're
And
running out of
pregnant
babies.
pregnant women. Oh, give me
So-
a break.
So
I'm tired of it.
so this is an avenue Richard takes in the movie, and he adopts a baby, and the backfire is, there's a little mix-up with the agency. It's like the kid's 15 years old,
Right.
and he's laced with American attitude right off the bat, and that's one example. Another example in the screenplay is Richard. He goes on an infomercial, and he endorses, one of those hair regrowth,
Right.
like
right.
hair growing
Hair growth,
formulas. And what happens is there's defective ginkgo biloba from China, and it does nothing but produce male impotence. Everything becomes a mess in his life, and that's the gist of the script.
What kind of guy is this Richard Pryor Jr. actually
In life,
in life? Yes, I want to know. Actually,
an absolute charming, decent man.
does he ever sit and talk to you about him growing up with his father? Does he remember all that?
Well,
Does
the
he-
issue with that is, and that's a very good question, to get to know Richard Pryor Jr. The issue with that is...
Does he know who he is?
You're hitting all the right notes here, Skip.
Okay.
The problem is, was he around enough
Yes, that's it.
to constitute being a father?
Yeah.
And Richard Pryor, I have nothing but respect for the senior Richard
Right,
Pryor.
right.
He broke ground. He raised the ceiling for all black comedians today.
Absolutely.
And that's how I see him. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I don't care about his personal life, as strong as that may sound. I don't have time for his personal life. I don't know him.
He's too busy. He was working all the
I
time.
I care on what came through the camera, and I saw a brilliant comedian who set the standard, who broke the ceiling, who set new ground. Comedic brilliance, inherent, born with it. So the question is, what kind of father was he? I don't want to speak for Richard, but I think the whole idea is that, did Richard Pryor Jr. really have a father? So that's the question with that. But getting back to the script, it's a very funny script. What we try to do with the script, when I wrote it, is I tried to be as funny as This Is Spinal Tap. Remember that movie with the Rob Reiner
Right,
film?
of course.
Talk about busting out of the gate as a director for your first film. Rob Reiner set the standard. That movie is authentic, rich, funny. It's my favorite. It's my favorite comedy.
Is it really?
Yeah, and Rob Reiner has gone on to really make films that are legendary.
Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor were so good together.
And Stir Crazy and See No Evil, Hear No
great.
Evil.
I met Richard Pryor. Because I knew Gene Wilder.
Right.
He used me in several movies. I was in The World's Greatest Lover.
Yes.
And he used me in a couple of his films.
Right.
And I loved, and I was on the set a couple times when Richard was doing his scenes.
Right.
And he seems.
I'm not saying the script is as funny as Spinal Tap. It is not. It's almost impossible to write a screenplay that is funny as Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
It's not. Is it in the ballpark?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sure.
Maybe. And my production company, Bonafide Films, who has partial finance for this already, like I did with my other films, is that what we're doing now is the script is just being polished right now. This is the movie version, not the TV version.
Right.
The movie version. What we're looking for is to bring on a producer to this project who can bring this project to the next level.
Yeah.
To the next level.
I want to ask you a question.
Yes,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Dante Liberatore, how do you feel? You're a young director, young filmmaker. How do you feel about people today are talking about the young of Hollywood, Hollywood young? You are Hollywood young. You are a director, filmmaker, and how do you feel about they love the old people, the backgrounds of Orson Welles, the filmmakers and stuff like that. And they claim you people don't have it like they have. What do you feel about that?
You're talking about the nostalgia of
yeah, see, they don't. These
nostalgia of old Hollywood?
Going back. And
Yeah.
you are young.
Well, you know what it is. You know what it is. It's different today because back then, the era of which you're speaking, there was one avenue. There was one big platform for all.
It was a factory. It was one big factory.
Right, for all to hopefully hop onto.
Yeah.
I think today, with technology and the internet and uploading and downloading, I think that road of old Hollywood, that 2-lane country road, has expanded into a 16-lane expressway.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any chance for that old type Hollywood to come back. I think today it's.
Do we really want it to come back? That's to give it a chance for people like you.
I want it to come back personally. Yes, it's a lot more simple. It's a lot more simple.
Yeah.
Like for example,
I wrote a book, Dante, and I want to tell you this new book of mine is called The Hollywood Gomorrah.
Great book. I've read it.
You have not read it. Did you really?
I did read it.
Oh, because of Frank Sinello.
Frank Sinello, a great writer, a great established writer.
Yeah. And he helped me with the book, and he probably gave you chapter one.
He sent me several chapters, and I found it to be absolutely.
Oh, really? Well, this is the Hollywood sex lives of the stars.
Right.
And this is what I did with this Hollywood Gomorrah.
But speaking of what you were referring to as far as today's celebrity, one of the things about Richard Hu is to lend, in order to lend authenticity to the stage documentary, the entire script is peppered with actual stars, A, B, C list. For example, the on-screen director of the film is Perez Hilton. These stars have not been contacted yet, so I can't say that they're going to be in it.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, good writing attracts everything. We have Andy Dick making a cameo. We have Miley Cyrus making a cameo. We have Paris Hilton. Richard loses her 2 dogs wearing $250,000.
That's the new Hollywood you're talking about. Andy Dick and all these people.
Richard loses her dogs and they're wearing $250,000 worth of jewelry. Hey, you can't go wrong with that. And and it's peppered occasionally with these stars, which would lend authenticity to the stage aspect of the project.
You ever see Lee Grant anymore, or Joe?
Unfortunately, well, the last time I saw Lee Grant was in a David Lynch movie.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
She played in a film, and she played this crazy woman. But no, you know what? It's been so long.
I love her. You don't keep in touch with her, though.
I don't keep in touch, but
you're doing your thing.
Where I left off, the word that comes to class when anyone mentions Lee Grant, class.
Absolutely.
Classy. As well as her husband.
I agree with you. Thank you so much for coming today to do my show for me.
Listen.
Enjoyed it.
Let me just say this. I went to your 83rd birthday party.
84th.
84th
my
birthday
first
party.
84th birthday
I went
party.
there. I went there with Frank Sinatra.
I'm there every Monday night. It's at Mona of Italy.
My point is this. You are an inspiration for a lot of people.
Thank you.
You really are.
I'm there every Monday night and at 9 o'clock show, okay? It's a talent night. If you're a singer, just come on in.